To be honest, when I first looked at this layout, I was like, why? Why did the developer do this to us? Because couldn't it be a little bit better? Couldn't you give us like an enclosed kitchen right here? But hello everyone, how are you doing today? First and foremost, pardon my voice for this video because I feel a bit nasally. I'm taking this video right now the day after River Modern's launch, so I feel a little bit under the weather. I'm just recovering, but we are going to push through because we are going all the way far east to Tampines West. All right, so I feel like Tampines is like this crown jewel of Singapore. They are always sort of like breaking records, always getting like the nicest things first. That's my take on Tampines. Today, we are going to talk about latest mixed-use development that's going to come into Tampines West, and that is called Pinery Residences. So you might have heard about it, especially if you're in EC, but if you haven't, let me take you through. All right, so today what we're going to first talk about is to give you an overview of the project information, the land bid prices, the upcoming land bid prices in the East, recent performance of integrated and mixed-use development, and the average PSF of OCR new developments in the market right now. And then finally, of course, the floor plan overview for Pinery Residences. And once again, if you want to check out the Showflat will preview this weekend from the 14th of March all the way to the 24th of March before they launch on the 28th. So if you want a detailed analysis, financial breakdown, and just have a discussion if Pinery Residence is the one for you, feel free to drop me a comment, WhatsApp me, and I will be in touch very shortly. But first, let's talk about some project facts. For Pinery Residences, we are mixed-use development, a total of 588 units ranging from 2-bedroom, 2-bath, all the way to 5-bedroom. The good thing about it being a mixed-use development is that you have your everyday convenience at your doorstep. You have Tampines West MRT underneath us. You have your F&B shops, your supermarkets. All of that will just be under your block. We are going to have about 60 odd shops. So for 60 odd shops to serve like 500 over developments, that's definitely going to be more than sufficient. And the good thing for families looking to move here is that we also have an early childhood education center downstairs. And the good thing about where we are also located, education is really all taken care of from your preschool, which is downstairs. You're within 1 km to St. Hilda's and Junior Primary, a lot of secondary school options in Tampines itself. And also, if your kids go to Temasek Polytechnic in the future, you're just one road down from Temasek Poly. And the last point is that we have sufficient car park lots, 474 car park lots for 588 units, more than sufficient because we expect to see healthy tenant demand for Pinery Residences. Next, if we look into the site location, what I like is that we have HDB clusters surrounding Pinery Residences, because this means that if these people actually look to upgrade, Pinery Residences would likely be their first choice. And another thing I like is that we do not really have any private competition that is very, very close to us. And personally, I do also like that Bedok Reservoir is just down the road. So if you want to take like a leisure stroll in the evening or run around the reservoir, I do think that it would be great because I do love a good run route. This is actually something that I personally look out for my next home. So if you're like me, this could actually be a good bonus. And next, looking at the overview of the development, we have a total of 6 blocks, 14 stories high, and all the facilities is segmented into 3 different areas. You have the Vitality Century, the Family Oasis, and the Play Cove. So like the gym, the function room, the kids party room, they are all segregated into different areas. And I would say Pinery, we do have all the general facilities, nothing more, nothing less, quite similar to most of the new developments nowadays. And now quickly going through the unit mix, a total of 43% of the total unit numbers are going to be the 2-bedrooms. So 2-bedrooms will start from 624 square feet for the 2-bed, 2-bath. And then 35% is the 3-bedroom units, the smallest size here starting from 807 square feet all the way to 1055 square feet. Then 20% for the 4-bedroom, and 2% of the units are going to be the 5-bedroom plus home shelter. So with all of that, who is Pinery Residences for? In my opinion, I think it's going to be on-stay buyers who are looking for convenience, who want to save time, and in this case, buy back time because you don't want to waste time traveling to the MRT, commuting to the MRT, then commuting into town. You want everything at your doorstep, whether it's food, whether it's transportation, whether it's your everyday convenience, laundry, supermarket, groceries. So if you're that person, Pinery Residences is for you. It is also for you if you're an investor looking for a long-term rental with healthy rental demand. Because today, if you're an investor and you're trying to flip for capital appreciation, I do think that a lot of new launches here, prices are a little bit high, so you do need to look at a slightly longer term hold. You should be looking at a longer term hold, but if you are looking for rental demand, Pinery Residences no doubt is going to give you all that convenience. Renters are going to come. And next, also, if you are a HDB upgrader who have profited from your BTOs and you want to cash out those profits but still stay in the same area, then Pinery Residences is for you. And lastly, if your family is looking for that 1 km address to Junyuan Primary, to St. Hilda's Primary, then this is definitely for you. And currently, at the moment of filming, we do not know the actual indicative pricing from the developers yet. However, we do know that the land bid price for Pinery Residences is 1004 PSF PPR. Estimating break-even is about 1,800 plus. This might seem a little bit low, but do know that because we are mixed development, the developers do need to put in extra money to build out all the basement car parks for the commercial side, the commercial shops, the community plaza, so on and so forth. So the estimated break-even would be higher. So what we are doing is that we have estimated that the profit margin for Pinery will be about 30%. Typically, developers are looking about 20 to 25%. So 30% here would be a good gauge. So expected pricing for Pinery will start from 2,400 PSF all the way up to 2,600 PSF. So right now, you might be thinking if this is too high. We're going to address this later in the video. But first, what I'm going to show you is also where the OCR market, the outside central region market, is headed. First, All Greens, a developer, has also bidded for a piece of land beside Tanah Merah MRT at 1,330 PSF. To give you some context, 1,330 PSF is similar land bid pricing for Promenade Peak. It's more expensive than Zion Grand. So this land bid price here is typically what we've seen for the core central region, the rest of central region, but right now developer has bidded this price for the outside central region. So estimated break-even is going to be 2,400 PSF, and if we factor in 20% profit margin, estimated starting price could be from 2,900 PSF onwards, and this is for a plot in Tanah Merah next year. Another more recent example that I'm going to show you is a land that Guacoland bidded last week for the 8th plot in Lentor, and this came out to 1,278 PSF. Similarly, this is higher than Zion Grand. This is comparable to River Green, Promenade Peak in the CCR and in the RCR. This land here is actually about 200 to 300 PSF higher than all the other Lentor plots. The estimated break-even will be about 2,378 PSF, and the estimated starting price will be from 2,854 PSF. So right now, what we do know is that upcoming land bid price will be higher. The OCR pricing might also set a new benchmark. So if today, Pinery, our expectation is from 2,400 to about 2,600, is that going to be a safe entry price? I would say potentially, because it does come with a lot more convenience, and in terms of the location, it's quite prime for Tampines itself. So next up, we're going to deep dive into the performance of integrated and mixed-use developments recently. First up being Parktown Residences, our nearest competitor. So last year when it launched, Parktown sold 87% out of its 1,193 units on day one at an average price of 2,360 PSF. Next, Pasir Ris 8, which is already a TOP integrated development, sold 85% of its unit on day one. And lastly, we have Lentor Modern, which also sold 84% on day one. And right now, we are also seeing that Lentor Modern, right when it TOP, it has already hit 21% gain in the subsale market. So looking specific into Lentor Modern, you can see that from Q3 2022 to Q1 2026, it has shown about 14% growth across all the unit types, yearly growth at 4.21%. Is this good? Yes, because typically in the resale market, you might be seeing a growth of between 2 to 3%. So anything higher is great. And also for Lentor Modern, I don't think we have seen its full potential yet because the development just collected its keys and the data that we are seeing is just right off the first few transactions in the subsale market. Next, if we look into Pasir Ris 8, we have a longer term horizon. What we can see is that from 2021 to right now, Q1 2026, we see a total growth of 27%. And we break it down yearly, is 6.16% growth. So this performance is actually really strong, especially if you're looking at the holding period, which is less than 5 years. Next, I know some of the concerns of people would be that, oh, integrated development is really, really expensive. It's going to be like 20-30% more than the resale developments. Is the entry price safe for me? So what I'm going to show you here is also how Pasir Ris 8 entry price was against Coco Palms then, and what is your current pricing now. So Pasir Ris 8 entry price at the time average is about 1,617, and Coco Palms at that point was 1,240.9 PSF. If you look at the numbers at the back, it's just been adjusted for harmonization. Just for your idea, the price gap then was 376.1 PSF. Currently, Pasir Ris 8 average PSF is about 2,065 PSF, Coco Palms at 1,715 PSF. Price gap is still about 349 PSF, so I'll say the gap has actually kept quite consistent throughout this year. So today, if your fear is that integrated or mixed-use development would not perform well because the price is too high, I'm here to tell you that actually the prices, the gap will actually remain quite consistent throughout. And also as compared to where Pasir Ris 8 is located, I do think that Pinery locations has lesser risk because we do not have any resale private development that's that close to us. So now we're going to talk about the average PSF in the OCR market currently. So starting with Parktown, we know that they are at 2,360 PSF. If we go all the way up to Springleaf, they sold at about 2,271 PSF. And then Chuan Park, which is also right next to the MRT but not integrated, if we factor in for harmonization, they are already at 2,700. And Sora, all the way in Jurong as well, is at 2,428 PSF. So if you think about the convenience that we're going to get for Pinery Residences, the time that you're going to save, is the premium worth it? So I think if they come in from 2.4 and you're able to get in at 2.425, I do think that that is definitely a very, very safe entry price. Anything above, I do think that we could still be in a safe zone as well, just depending on the unit type and the overall quantum that we are paying. The resale developments, even when we are looking at it here, Lentor Modern at about 2,559 if we factor for harmonization, Pasir Ris 8 at about 2,100 as well. But Pasir Ris 8, their unit sizes are also a little bit bigger, so on a quantum basis, it could be quite similar. This is why for Pinery Residences, I am predicting entry price of between 2,400 to 2,600 PSF. So in the next bit, we are going to talk about the floor plans, and I'm going to use the expected pricing of 2,400 to 2,600 PSF to show you what is the potential price for Pinery Residences for each of the unit type. I'm also going to use Lentor Modern and also Pasir Ris 8 as examples of current resale transactions to see how this would stack up. So first is the 2-bed 2-bath layout, which is our smallest layout here. To be honest, when I first looked at this layout, I was like, why? Why did the developer do this to us? Because couldn't it be a little bit better? Couldn't you give us like an enclosed kitchen right here? But since we are here, let's talk about the 624 square feet, which is the smallest 2-bed 2-bath that we have. What is good is that for 624 square feet, we are actually getting a 2-bed 2-bath because traditionally this size would likely be a 2-bed 1-bath, which is why the compromise here is the kitchen. Kitchen is tucked on both sides as you are entering into the development. The reason why I would say that this layout is not the best when I initially first looked at it is because I think that people would prefer an enclosed kitchen. However, because this is a mixed-use development, the good thing is that you have all your conveniences below. I've spoken to clients before who also stay in like a mixed-use development, is that they don't really cook. So actually, if you give them a very big kitchen, they find that it is actually quite wasted, especially since all the new developments now are actually quite small. So I think what the developer for Pinery Residence is doing is that, okay, I'm going to compromise on the kitchen space, but I'm going to give you a 2-bed, 2-bath. And considering we don't really have nearby competitors that will compete with us, I think that if the price is done right, and if you're looking for a long-term rental or even for own stay and you really don't cook, you might appreciate this size because the price could be at quite a sweet spot. Next, at the 635 square feet layout, this layout I'm a little bit concerned because when you step in, you have like your washer dryer, a storage at the side, and a toilet on the other side. This whole space could feel a little bit wasted. And then if you move on, you have your kitchen in your dining. That is actually, both of them are actually in the same amount of space. So that could reduce the actual usable space also. But this layout could work if you're looking to rent out both rooms because both rooms are actually quite segmented. So I would say this layout more for rental, maybe not for own stay, but if possible, I think I would avoid this layout altogether because the living space is actually really quite compromised. And the entryway here is a little bit wasted with the toilet and the washer dryer. Next would be the 667 square feet layout. This would be the best out of all the 2-bed, 2-bath. I mean, one, of course, the size, you get a little bit bigger, but this comes in a traditional layout. What you can see is that the wall line between the dining and the living room is a little bit longer. So what this gives you is that with a smaller space like this, you also have more usable space if you want to build shelves, if you want to, say, put like a study table in the living room, or you want a bigger couch, this could be done for this layout. So I think 667 would be the best choice for a 2-bed, 2-bath at Pinery Residence if the budget allows. If not, you can look into the 624 square feet just on an entry price perspective. So if we look into the price estimation, for 2,400 to 2,600 PSF, the 624 square feet will start us right below the $1.5 million mark. 667, you will be looking at 1.6 to 1.7, and then 635 again, maybe we just forget about it. Parktown Residences, entry price here was between 1.54 all the way to 1.759. Pasir Ris 8 right now, if you're buying resale, is about 1.47 to 1.67. So Pinery Residence, what it will give you is a good entry price for a new development. If you don't want to buy resale, you don't want to deal with like the renovations and all of that, this would be your only option. And the developers with this size, what they're playing is really the quantum play to make sure that they are competitive when you're looking at the purchase price. And next, we also have a 2-bedroom, 2-bath plus study layout. This is at 700 square feet. No complaints about this layout because it's actually quite traditional. You have a tucked-in kitchen. The study is connected to bedroom 2. What is nice about this layout is that if you want a bigger master bedroom, you can knock down the wall between bedroom 2 and the study, shift the wardrobe down, put a door outside the study, and that could be your master bedroom. So this is quite a nice layout at 700 square feet. And if we look into the pricing wise, from 2004 to 2600 PSF, the entry price could be 1.68 all the way to 1.82. Parktown Residences 2-bed plus study started from 1.748 all the way to 1.991. Pasir Ris 8, no comparisons. Lentor Modern resale transaction pricing is 1.75 to 1.89. So I would say maybe for this layout, you should be looking at a longer term hold depending on your entry price. But that being said, the developer really prices well and you really come in below $1.7 million. That's a very safe entry price, especially because we know people are already paying $1.75 to close to $1.9 million for a 2-bed plus study at Lentor Modern. And this is also an integrated development with shops. But Pinery is much better. We have more shops. We are in a more mature area, so I think demand would be better. So for 2 bed plus study, entry price is important if you're looking for a quick flip. And next, we're going to talk about the 3 bedroom compact layouts. We have 3 layouts here, one at 807 square feet, one at 861 square feet, and one at 872 square feet. So first, we're going to talk about the 807 square feet. It comes with an enclosed kitchen. In terms of the living and dining room layout-wise, you're quite similar to the 2 bed plus study, except that you get an additional room. 861 square feet, a little bit better because you do get an enclosed kitchen that comes with a window. So I think that this is quite important, especially for a 3 bedroom. And if you look at 872 square feet, it's quite similar to the 861, except it comes with a longer walkway, a foyer area, which I don't think is really necessary if we want to be competitive in terms of pricing. So for the 3 bedroom compact, my immediate option would be to go with the 861 square feet right here. All right, if we look into the pricing, 807 might start us slightly below $2 million. So that could be a good entry point if you don't mind a smaller kitchen that comes without windows. At 861, we might be looking at an entry price slightly above $2 million, 2.066, all the way to 2.238. And for 872 will be close to 2.1 million all the way to 2.267. So how does this stack up to say Parktown Residences? Parktown Residence for the 3 bed 2 bath is about 2.066 all the way to 2.66 million. Pasir Ris 8, what they are already transacting at is around this range that we are looking at too. Lentor Modern at 2.23 to 2.440. So of course, sizes here look a little bit different, but Pinery is also a harmonized development, so the actual comparison closest to will be Parktown Residence. What I do like is that the area that we are at, if we use Parktown as a comparison, is in a more mature part, more desirable part of Tampines. So if today the entry price is quite similar, I do think that Pinery Residence is a good choice. So what I also like is that at this potential price point, we are not overpaying as compared to the other 3 bed 2 bath room in the outside central region currently. Next, let's talk about the 3 bedroom premium, and arguably this is going to be the most popular unit type in Pinery Residence because I expect a lot of HDB upgraders to come for this layout. We start from 990 square feet. We have a second layout at 1012 square feet and the last one at 1023 square feet. Actually, across all 3 layout types, not a lot of difference because this is quite a typical 3 bedroom premium layout that comes with a home shelter and an additional WC. The most popular layout that I believe would be the 990 square feet layout, just from a quantum perspective. However, if you're comparing between the 1012 and 1023 layout, my preference would actually to go for the bigger 10231. Because for the 1023, you don't really have a DB box blocking the front entrance way, so you can build additional cabinetry right there. So if we look into the price estimation, 990 will start us anywhere between 2.37 to 2.574, 1012 at about 2.428, and 1023 at 2.455, all the way up to 2.659. Comparing to Parktown, their starting price is from 2.35 all the way to 2.753. This is well within the estimations. So if you have missed Parktown Residence, this is definitely your second entry opportunity into Tampines area. And the last 3 bedroom layout that I want to talk about is the 3 bedroom plus study, and this comes at 1055 square feet. What is really nice is that you have a study area that is connected to the master bedroom. The developers are not going to build up the walls, so existingly in the current layout, you do have a very big master bedroom where the study area is built to be like a walk-in wardrobe type of situation. And if you realize there's also an AC latch that's right outside the study, so if you use it for your master bedroom, what is really unique is that you have windows on the side when you walk into the master and the windows on the other side of your bed. So it's actually going to be a very, very well lit room. If you don't need the actual study and you want to use this as a 3 bedroom, I think it's the perfect layout for Pinery Residences. Everything else is what we've seen in the 3-bedroom premium, just the addition of the study in this layout. If we look into the price at 2,400 PSF, what it will start off as is 2.532 million all the way to 2.743 million. Parktown Residences, the 3-bedroom plus study, started off at 2.565 all the way to 2.810. Pasir Ris 8 right now 2.58 to 2.632. Lentor Modern at 2.38 to 2.788. So at potentially $2.5 million onwards, this would be the layout I'll prioritize for the 3-bedroom. If your budget of 2.5 to 2.6, definitely look into the 3-bedroom plus study first. But in the event if the starting price is too high at like 2.7, 2.8 plus, you actually do have another option if you really want the Tampines area, and that is to look at Parktown Residences. So if you want more information on that also, you can just reach out to me separately and then I will share more information with you. There are still units that we can look at the $2.5 and $2.6 million range, and the layout is relatively similar. Alright, and next we're going to talk about the 4-bedroom layouts here. The smallest 4-bedroom is at 1,141 square feet. This is essentially a 4-bedroom 2-bath. You still have a WC in the kitchen. So this will be the cheapest 4-bedroom for you to enter in Pinery Residences. The rest of the other layouts comes with a study. So at 1,195, this will give you a bigger landscape living room. Because again, the walls of the study is not built. So you can have a very big living dining area at 1,195. Then the slightly bigger ones will be at 1,227 square feet and 1,238. Not a lot of difference in these 3 layouts with the 4-bedroom plus study, just the foyer entrance area. So I think if you're looking at the 4-bedroom plus study, I will prioritize the 1,195 followed by the 1,227 and 1,238 specifically, because the sizes don't make such a huge difference in the layout. And now moving into the estimated pricing, what we think the 4-bedroom could start from is anywhere between 2.738 million all the way to 3.218 million. I would say if the indicative starting price is below the $3 million mark, I think that this is very, very good and attractive. Definitely you should enter into the market, because for the remaining inventory, even in Parktown Residences, the cheapest unit that we have now is starting from $3.2+ million onward. And if you missed it and you want to come in below the $3 million mark in the Tampines area for a mixed development and integrated development, then Pinery Residences could be your only chance. And next, the last 4-bedroom layout that we are talking about here is the luxury 4-bedroom. 4-bedroom plus study Luxe in Pinery. This is 1,389 square feet. What is really nice is that here you have 4-bed, 3-bath. You have an addition of a junior master bathroom that is actually a Jack and Jill. So 2 bedrooms can actually access the toilet. And so it's a 4-bed, 3-bath, actually have a WC in the kitchen. What is the unfortunate compromise for this layout? Because we've already seen the Showflat is the master bathroom. Because for 4-bedroom master bath, this is actually really small. But what the developer has prioritized here is the living, study, and the dining space. So if you don't actually need a study, the area is really, really big. So it likely promote more family time in the living room. So at this layout, the estimated starting price is $3.33 million to $3.6 million. And if you compare to Parktown, their entry price is from 3.35 all the way to 3.518. And looking at Lentor Modern, their recent transaction price is from 3.4 all the way to $3.5 million. So what I do like is that if this is the potential pricing, we are also in quite a comfortable range where we know that people are currently paying this entry price for a property, be it a new launch or in the resale market. It's just whether or not you would be okay with the layout after you take a look at the Showflat. And the last layout that we're going to touch on is the 1,475 square feet 5-bedroom. This is quite similar to the 4-bedroom plus study luxury. The only difference is that here you do get a bigger kitchen. So if your priority is to have a bigger kitchen because you host a lot and you want to cook, this would be a better proper kitchen, and then you also have the dry kitchen as well. That's quite sizable. Your living dining area actually is not as big as compared to what you could have for the 4-bedroom luxury. Then of course you have the 5 bedrooms for this layout. So if you want to have a decent amount of space and you want to have 5 bedrooms, then this will be the layout that you're looking at. And the expected pricing that we could be starting from is from 3.54 all the way to 3.835. As compared to Parktown, what they have already transacting is from 3.8 to $4 million. So I don't know how much of a premium developers will put on this, but if they really start from 3.5, 3.6, then your entry price is quite protected because of what our neighbors at Tampines North is already paying. And I think that our location here is better. The mall will be less dense. You have lesser units competing. So this would definitely be something that is more desirable, I believe. So that's everything that I have for you for Pinery Residence at the moment. If after watching this video you're on the fence, you don't know if Pinery Residences is for you, feel free to reach out to me for a discussion. You do not need to be shy. So someone actually watched my River Modern video and said hi to me on booking day. I appreciate it so much that people are actually watching my video, but really I would also love to help you transact your next property. Okay, so if that is you, congratulations on your unit. But for the rest of you, if you're considering Pinery Residences and if you just want to have the latest information, feel free to WhatsApp me. I'll be happy to work with you and just share everything that I know with you. And if it is not the right fit, happy to point you in the right direction. So that's all from me, and I'll see you the next time. Bye.